Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's regular meeting of the Woburn City Council of October 15, 2024. Just a reminder to everyone, tonight's meeting is being recorded for broadcast. Also, please silence your cell phones. If you can, please stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance with me.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Clerk Higgins, if you call the roll, please.
Counsel Campbell.
Present.
Counsel Demers.
Present.
Counsel DeMambro.
Present.
Counsel Ferrullo.
Present.
Counsel Mercer Bruin.
Present.
Counsel Papalato.
Present.
Counsel Toro.
Present.
Counsel Viola.
Present.
President Dillon.
Present.
Make a motion that we dispense with the reading of the previous meeting's journal and approve.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
That passes.
First item on the agenda we have is an order authorizing the mayor to sell the Wyman School at 679 Main Street.
Make a motion the matter be referred to the Committee on Infrastructure and Public Lands.
Second.
The motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
That passes.
Make a motion to suspend the rules to take the following resolve regarding Breast Cancer Awareness Month out of order.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
That passes. Councilor Viola?
Whereas during October, the American Cancer Society, national public service organizations, professional associations, and government agencies joined forces to spread the message that early detection of breast cancer, followed by prompt treatment, saves lives. And whereas there are more than 3.1 million women in the United States living with the history of invasive breast cancer, and whereas breast cancer ranks second as a cause of cancer death in women, and whereas breast cancer screening has been found to reduce breast cancer mortality, and when breast cancers are detected at an early stage, survival is 99%. And whereas locally, the Tanner Tata Foundation was incorporated in 2009, provides emotional support to women and families at a time of a breast cancer diagnosis, during treatment and beyond, and is a source of support for children and spouses of women in treatment, and has supported research into breast cancer as well as a cure. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Woburn, that the Woburn City Council recognizes the month of October as National Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and that the residents of the city be encouraged to join the effort to promote early detection and treatment and support those who have fought or are currently fighting breast cancer. Signed by all the city councilors.
Very good, thank you. On behalf of the council, the community, we want to thank the Woburn Tatars for all they do. You do great work, and it really is appreciated.
Indeed.
Was a motion
Mr.
in a
President.
second?
Mr. President, do you want the Tanner Tatas to come up to
Do you want
receive
to adopt the
resolve?
result?
Make a motion we adopt the resolve.
Second.
The motion and the second to adopt the resolve, all in favor?
Aye.
That passes. Sure, let's do it. We could take a quick picture with the Woburn Tatars.
Are we all going up?
We don't fight.
Put something right below, at the end, if you can. All right, can I get on? We'll do two more. Beautiful. That was, thanks.
Mr. President, I'll make a motion that we return to the regular order of business.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
That passes.
First item we have on the agenda is a petition by FMP Productions for a special event permit to allow a road race starting at Lord Hobo at 5 Draper Street and along area streets on October 26, 2024.
Okay. We are in receipt of old taxes, and that it be received and made part of the permanent record.
I'll make a motion that the communication be received and made part of the permanent record.
Second.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
That passes. How does the council want to handle this?
Is there somebody here for the applicant that could speak on the,
Sure.
You need a motion to suspend the rules to
Make a motion to suspend the rules to allow the petitioner to speak.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
That passes. Please step forward, state your name and address, please.
Jake Dodd with FMP Productions.
Jonathan Monnier, Lord Hobo.
Thank you. Tell us a little bit about the event and how this transpired, please.
So it is the annual Lord Hobo Charity Doom Run, where we partner with 3 local charities, including the Woburn Boys and Girls Club and the Connors Kindness Project. It's over 500 runners. They can sign up to run. All the proceeds from the event go to the charities, and then all of the runners can also participate to make donations or gather fundraising dollars that, once again, 100% go to the charities.
Thank you.
If I'm correct, this is our 5th race. We had 3 617 races, and this is our 2nd Doom.
Yes, fifth total race. There's the 617K in June, once again partnering with the local charities, and then the Doom Run in the fall, this is the 2nd annual of that, yes.
Mr. Dillon, I'll address the other matter that you raised.
Thank you. Please.
So we've been, for the better part of the last year, we've been working through what I will call a merger. It's not a public matter yet, but as a result of that, we've been financing kind of transaction costs from operating cash flow. We're hoping to announce the merger this week, so there will be another element of us coming before you guys on that matter. It's a good thing because we're basically growing our enterprise and we're bringing more jobs to the city of Woburn. I've been directed by our shareholders to maneuver as best as I can while we wait for other capital commitments to come through prior to close of the transaction. We've not wanted to be in this situation. We don't want the city to be in this situation. I'm a father. I have three kids. They go to schools. We don't want to be ever in this position. And it's just a matter of a transaction taking too long and then us, having to maneuver in the process in the background with our shareholders prior to closing the transaction and getting the financing in.
Thank you. Questions? Yes, Councilor Demis.
Without venturing into any proprietary details about whatever business dealings might be going on, are you confident that once the said merger is completed, that the tax liability will be taken care of?
Yes, sir.
And you say it's expected to be announced next week?
I mean,
Well, this week, next week?
I've been working on this transaction for 2 years, sir, so if it doesn't happen on Friday, we're hoping for this week.
All right, thank you.
Yes, Councilor Toyle.
Do we have any insight as to when, I know the merger has to happen, but do you have any insight as to when we could expect these back taxes to be paid?
So the majority of them were paid today.
When you say majority,
The majority of the legacy taxes for this year were paid today, so I paid a portion today.
do you recall how much?
Yeah, 100.
Okay.
The total balance, I think, remaining is about 176 or 170. It depends upon how your portal calculates the dues between now and when we pay on 11/1 or 11/10, whenever that is. But we've been tracking this, gentlemen and ladies. We're fully aware. I have institutional investors behind our group. I think Lord Hobo has had 2 personas in the public here. It has had the public persona that came from a manager that was related to the entity, and then it's got the persona of all the people that work for the business, like me, Kate, who you guys have met multiple times, Chris. We're hardworking people. We want to create a going concern that's successful, a brand that breathes Boston, breathes Massachusetts, and that's what we're trying to do.
And what is your position?
I'm the director of finance.
Thank you.
Yes, Councilor Campbell.
How much do the charities usually raise? How much do you raise for this event?
It depends upon the contributions that we get from individuals that are participating in the race, but it can vary from, in the middle of COVID, I think we had one charity where we contributed a portion, and that therefore we total raise might have been like 15. But it just,
15,000?
yeah, it just depends. It really depends on what happens on the day of too, and how well received it is.
Okay.
But usually we have about 1,200 participants between the race participants. We're expecting that to be about 600 people, but usually they bring friends and family members, and that's where the added dollars come from.
Do you expect this issue that's taking place with the taxes and the merger and all of that to interfere
No,
with this race at all?
I hope not. No, that's the reason why I'm here. I'm trying to stave that off. I would like this race to go forward now.
Right, okay, thank you.
Yes, Councilor Boone.
I can't help but comment here. If you were a resident in this situation, you could be potentially losing your home and a lien be on your home. I don't want to stop you from having the charity event, but I strongly, have you had a payment plan or something? This is a big number. I understand your merger, but this is a huge number.
Yeah, ma'am, I was hoping to have my documents in a row on the merger in March. We've been tracking against that since March. So as a result of the delay there, we've been delayed in multiple fronts. And I've been spinning wheels since then. Our documents are done. It's not a matter of public record yet, but we've worked on our press piece. We've done all the pieces that we're supposed to do prior to announcing it. I'm basically announcing it right now before it is announced.
Do you have a plan to pay this number if that merger doesn't go through?
It will go through, ma'am. There's been a lot of work.
Okay, so the money will be paid with any back penalties.
Ma'am, the worst year I ever had at the brewery was in 2022 when we had a CO2 event, which collapsed our sales because we couldn't produce.
Again, I'm sympathetic, but I'm also putting the hat on of the everyday resident here, so I'm not going to stop you from having your event. I just want to know that there's a plan here.
What I was saying is I've never written off an AP balance due to anybody at any organization ever since I've been a part of Lord Hobo, and I'm not planning on it. So,
All right, well,
hell or high water, we're going to get this done.
okay. Well, we're rooting for you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Councilor Toro.
Just one other thing. I'm certainly open to supporting the petition because I'd hate to negatively impact the charities that you support with the race, but certainly want to give you a stern warning that if this doesn't get resolved and you guys come before us again, I will not support anything that you guys ask. So
I'm fully aware.
Okay.
But
I do appreciate what Lord Hobo does in the race, and you guys have a great business, and in my part of the city. So thank you. But
the reason why I'm here is because we will be making a licensing transition. So I have to come back before all of you, and to do that, I will have to have everything cleared out.
Thank you.
We're working on everything as we can.
Okay.
Councilor Papalato.
Good evening. I'm the city council that represents that ward, and I'm with Councilor Toro on that. You're doing a good thing. These are great charity events you guys run, and it's good for the community, but this can't go on forever, and I think that you run into some issues here. It seem like they could be addressed, but beyond this request, I can't support anything after this unless we get this cleaned up. Thank you.
Councilor Viola.
I'm just going to echo as well what the fellow councilors have said before. Seeing that you do good work for the charities in Woburn, you give back to the community. I will support it this one time. However, should the back taxes not be paid in full, I will not support anything going forward.
Let me just rephrase what I said earlier. We cannot make our licensing transition until we get this cleared up. So, this is a really important matter for all the work that I've done in the last 2 years. Okay.
Anyone else? Yes, Councilor.
And I just want to make sure that you are in constant communication with our treasurer-collector, Mr. Donovan. And you have some sort of a payment that, this is all lined up with him, so he knows what your schedule is, and he can be expecting dividends on this balance.
Yeah, so I speak to Mrs., I think it's McKittrick, on matters relating to our account. And I've been pretty communicative with her, and she's been great. So I
As long as you're working in conjunction with them and they're,
I always working, I mean, you guys, you're the city, so, yeah.
this is true.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent, thank you.
Mr. President,
Yes,
May-
Councilor
I
Demanis.
make a motion that a communication is sent to the treasurer-collector's office that the city council be informed once the balance has been paid off.
Second.
A motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
That passes. Just from the chair, I think you've heard loud and clear from the council tonight, so I strongly suggest you don't put yourself or the council in this position again in the future. Put your best foot forward. We appreciate your business. We appreciate you here in Woburn, but let's make sure this doesn't happen again, please.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Dillon.
Make a motion that the special event permit be granted.
Second.
Second.
A motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
That passes.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Make a motion to return to the
Thank you.
regular order of business.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
I know something's up
Passes.
when Lindsay's quiet.
Next item on the agenda is a petition by the Woburn Bowling Entertainment LLC for a new bowling license at 32 Montvale Avenue.
Make a motion the matter be referred to the Committee on Public Safety and License.
Second.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
That passes.
Next item on the agenda is petition for 2025 renewal of first-class motor vehicle sales license by Gordon Colonial, Inc., DBA Colonial Cadillac at 201 Cambridge Road.
Same action.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
That passes.
Next item on the agenda are the petitions for 2025 renewal of second-class motor vehicle sales licenses by the following: Capel's Auto Service, Inc., DBA Capel's Auto Sales, 22 Wynn Street; Act Leeson, Inc., 215 Salem Street; Murray's Enterprises, Inc., DBA Murray's Auto and Truck Sales, 89 Wynn Street; Ollie's Service Center, 310 Main Street; Wasim Sam Nicholas, DBA Woburn Square Mobile, 23 Pleasant Street; and McSheffrey Auto Sales, Inc., 878 Main Street.
Make a motion the matter be referred to the Committee on Public Safety and License.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Abstain.
And Councilor Papalado's abstaining. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is a petition by GR Development LLC for a special permit under section 5.1 subsection 37 as amended to allow for a car wash and associated site improvements at 325 Montvale Avenue.
Make a motion the matter be referred to public hearing.
Second.
Motion and the second, all in favor?
Aye.
That passes.
Next item on the agenda is on the petition by Nikoloff and Sons, Inc. for a minor modification to special permits dated September 10th, 2004 to Cafe Sorelli, Inc., and June 24th, 2021 to Cafe Leonardo to amend condition number 1 to change the name to Nikoloff and Sons, Inc., and 2, condition number 8 to update hours of operation to 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. at 130 New Boston Street. A communication dated October 3rd, 2024 was received by Attorney James Giuliano.
Make a motion the committee, make a motion that the communication be received, made part of the permanent record.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
That passes.
And then to allow,
I'll make a motion to suspend the rules to allow the petitioner to speak on the matter.
Second.
A motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
That passes. Attorney Giuliano, how are you tonight?
Very well, Mr. President, thank you. Attorney James Giuliano for the record, 607 Main Street, Woburn, Mass. On behalf of the applicant Nikoloff and Son, Inc., represented here is the president of the corporation, Svetlin Nikoloff. We are seeking, as the record stated, a minor modification pursuant to Section 11.12 of the Woburn zoning ordinance to amend the special permits dated September 10th, 2004, with a further amendment in June of 2021. Both were supplied and submitted with the record. The special permit originally allowed for the operation of a restaurant located at 130 New Boston Street for fast food establishment, cafe, bakery, which was known originally as Cafe Sorelli, if you may remember. In June of 2021, a special permit was amended to change condition 1, replacing Cafe Sorelli with Cafe Leonardo. And my client here tonight is in the process of purchasing Cafe Leonardo. So therefore, we are requesting a minor modification to change condition 1 by replacing Cafe Leonardo with Nikoloff and Sons, Inc. and to change condition 8 by adjusting the hours of operation from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m. to 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. All our other conditions will remain unchanged. So that being said, we request that this minor modification be granted.
Questions? Yes, Councilor DeMambro.
Attorney Giuliano, the hours of operation for Leonardo's currently is 6 a.m. to 9 p.m.,
Correct.
but currently it closes at 3 p.m., I believe.
Correct.
Okay. And the applicant is applying for minor modification to 10 o'clock, 10 p.m.,
8 a.m. to
8
10
a.m. to
p.m.
10 p.m.
Correct.
And is that going to be Monday through Sunday?
What's that? It will be, yeah. The goal is to basically, even though Leonardo's didn't capitalize on it, we are looking to get a little bit of a dinner involved if we can.
Okay.
So breakfast is probably not doable right away. Maybe you might try breakfast, but more so for lunch and dinners.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, sir.
Anyone else? What is the will of the council? Yes, Councilor Demis.
I'd defer to Councilor DeMambro as to the next steps on this. I don't know if you wanted to discuss with the petitioner more, or we could send this to special permits.
I think we should, I'm just going to send it, I'd like to send this to committee, just to go over a few of the particulars on this. We'll go over the hours as well. I have some concerns of the hours of operation. But I think if we can just move this to committee, I believe the next committee meeting will be this coming Monday. We'll just hash out that detail, and
Sure.
it shouldn't be too bad.
And I'll elaborate a little bit more, but basically, my client owns Penny's Pizza in Waltham. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's more of a higher-end sort of pizza, pasta, not so much fast food-ish like you're typically seeing in that area, but more of a sit-down, and that's sort of like the reasoning for those. But we can sort of certainly discuss those at committee, so.
I make a motion that this be sent to committee.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
That passes.
Make a motion,
I'm sorry, Committee on Special Permits? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
make a motion to return to the regular order.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. That passes.
Next item on the agenda is under public hearings is a petition by Ride On Vintage for a new secondhand dealers and secondhand collectors license at 438A Main Street. A communication that was just received tonight, dated October 15th, 2024, from Alex Patterson, requesting a withdrawal.
Make a motion that we receive the communication made it part of the permanent record.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
That passes.
Make a motion the public hearing is open.
Second.
Motion and a second to open the public hearing, all in favor?
Aye.
That passes. Is there anyone here in the audience that would like to speak on this matter? Please step forward. Seeing no
I'll
one,
make a motion that the public hearing is closed.
Second.
a motion and a second to close the public hearing, all in favor?
Aye.
That passes.
Make a motion the petition to leave to withdraw without prejudice be granted.
Second.
A motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
That passes.
Next item on the agenda is a petition by Brian Butler and Siobhan Curran for 68 Arlington Road for a special permit under section 5.1, subsection 56, to raise and rebuild a detached garage over 900 square feet at 68 Arlington Road. A communication dated October 8th, 2024 was received from John Cashel, the planning director, and those are the communications.
Make a motion the communication be received, made part of the permanent record.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
That passes. Attorney Giuliano
Good
again,
evening.
how are you?
Very well, Mr. President. Thank you again. For the record, Attorney James Giuliano, Giuliano Law Group, 607 Main Street here in Woburn, on behalf of the applicant Brian Butler and Siobhan Curran, who are the owners. We are seeking a special permit pursuant to section 5.1, subsection 5.6 of the 1985 Woburn zoning ordinance for the raising of the existing two-car garage and construction of a new garage exceeding 900 square feet located at the property at 68 Arlington Road. My client owns the property, bought it in 2015. It is a single-family residence on Arlington Road. They reside there with their children. My client does have a couple of collector cars, which is the reason for the petition that I'll get into in a little bit. Property is located in the R2 zoning district. The main house, built approximately in 1890, sits on over 12,000 square feet, which is conforming to the zoning district for single-family residence. The existing detached garage currently measures 22 by 22. It's made of concrete, wood, asphalt roof, typical old-style garage that has been there for a long time. I wouldn't say it emphatically is predates zoning, but it's pretty old if you've seen the condition of it. The current structure is 3.6 feet away from the lot line, which clearly impedes on the 12-foot setback that's required. So due to the nonconformity, we're obviously seeking a special permit under Section 7.3 with the Zoning Board of Appeals tomorrow night. So at the end of the presentation, I will request a continuance so that we can go to Board of Appeals tomorrow night in case there's any issues or comments or changes. We would like to keep it open so that we can come back at the next hearing. The purpose, again, of the construction, my client has a bunch of collector cars, has a family. The goal is to create a larger garage so that he can put all of the cars that he has as collectors in the garage totally. Family cars can also go into the garage. So the new measurements will measure 26 by 40 feet. It'll provide about 1,122 square feet of usable space that's above 7 feet. So on the first floor of the garage, it will contain roughly 1,040 square feet, 12-foot ceilings. The second story attic area will be only 82 square feet. That's above 7 feet. It's essentially just for storage, kayaks, bikes, etc. If you look at the design features of this garage, the grading allows it to have an egress in the rear of the proposed garage that'll allow basically for a few steps, go up and have an egress door that'll allow you to go into the second story. So it really marries well with the goal of what my client's looking to do, not only with the cars, but provide some additional storage, which is the purpose of the design. The design, if you've seen the renderings, a lot of thought architecturally was put into this. A few workings with myself, my client, the architect, and many, many more renderings with the architect and my client to get this to really go with the architecture of the house. If you know the house, it's a beautiful old sort of Victorian style home that really goes well with Arlington Road. The goal with this whole thing was to basically have this blend perfectly with the neighborhood, and I think with this rendering that we've done just that. The garage doors will measure 7'6", which and 9 foot in width, which is a standard for residential garages. We're not looking for overextended garage heights or widths in this situation. The garage, again, will be made of wood and concrete, sort of mirroring that architectural style that we see from the home. No water or plumbing is proposed on the second floor. With regards to utilities, there will be plumbing, there will be electricity. They will not need separate meters. I know Superintendent Duran made a mention of having jurisdiction if we are bringing in additional meters and additional connections, which we are not. Everything will play off of the single-family residence. There will be a slop sink. That's the only sort of plumbing that's necessary. Obviously, a slop sink is necessary for washing your hands, getting grease out. That's the only plumbing that will be necessary. There will be no bathrooms. There will not be any habitability up in that second attic area. And when we come back in the next meeting, I will put a list of conditions together that will memorialize what we're discussing as far as, again, conditions that will be attached to this special permit if approved. If you look through Arlington Road, obviously, it blends with the neighborhood, as I mentioned. 7 Arlington Road, 9 Arlington Road. These all have basically 30 by 30 garages. These are those old Victorians at the beginning. If you go down Arlington Road, you go down to 65, 69, 71, all the way through. There are separate garages as well. So we are conforming to the neighborhood quite nicely. So just in conclusion, as I mentioned, the garage will strictly be used for personal purposes, just my client. It's not going to be for business purposes. He has no intention of fixing third-party cars. It's just for his cars in his use only. No habitability in the storage area, no bathroom in that garage, and all activities will comply with Woburn's ordinances regarding noise pollution, et cetera. So that being said, we certainly can take any questions and ask that the special permit be approved here tonight.
Thank you. Questions for Attorney Giuliano? Yes, Councilor DeMambro.
Attorney Giuliano, you said you're going to be running water to this structure so that you can use a slop sink, I'm assuming hot and cold?
Hot and cold, correct.
And then it's going to be dropped into some sort of a drain that'll be brought out to the sewer system?
Yeah, it'll be used with the sewer system that is used for the single-family home, so it'll be tied into the house.
To the existing
Correct.
sewer system that's attached to the house.
Exactly, yeah, we won't be using a separate line to the street.
There's not a bathroom going into this garage, is there?
No, as I mentioned, there will be no bathroom, and that will be a condition that I will draft up, no bathroom.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Councilor Campbell.
Yes, hi, Attorney Giuliano. We spoke, and we talked about, obviously, you had said no bathroom, which I'm very happy about. Were you able to speak with any of the residents in the area?
We were, Counselor, I think we spoke to the next-door neighbor. My client he had a direct conversation. She's not here tonight due to her age, but I can bring him up, and he can certainly attest to what he did discuss with her. But basically, she is in favor of it. What we're doing is we're moving it further away from her garage, and she was all in favor of that. So
Right.
we did have this discussion with her.
Okay, all right, good, I'm glad to hear that. I have no problem with this. After I spoke with you, we talked about some conditions. My main concern was that they were going to be putting a bathroom in there, and that they were trying to make it another residence of some sort.
Right.
Or that it could be turned into a residence illegally or whatever. But you have eased my mind on that, and you said that it's not taking place. So I feel good about this. So we can just discuss the conditions before the next meeting as well.
Yeah, after I'll have a better understanding after tomorrow night's Board of Appeals meeting, I should probably be able to submit something this week or early next week.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Councilor Viola.
Thank you. Just recently in Ward 7, we passed something along the lines of this, so I feel comfortable in supporting this, but I do look forward to seeing what the conditions will be that we bring forward.
Councilor Demis.
Thank you. No, you took the words right out of my mouth, Councilor Viola. I was going to mention that and the importance that we're consistent with the conditions that we're putting on the renovations of garages now, so that we're applying the same rule to each property to make sure that everybody across the city's best interests are met. Thank you.
Everyone's good?
Through the president, I referring to Rear Grant Street, which I am familiar with, and they will mimic those conditions to put the counselor at ease, yes.
Very good. Thank you.
Make a motion to open the public hearing.
Motion and a second to open the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
That passes. Is there anyone here in the audience that would like to speak in this matter? Please step forward. Seeing no one.
Make a motion that the public hearing be continued to the regular meeting of the City Council on November 19th, and the matter be referred to the Committee on Special Permits.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
That passes.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is a petition by Campbell and Main Street LLC for a special permit under section 5.1.5, section 8.3.3, and section 12.2 to allow for 6 residential units above the first story in a commercial structure and parking within the municipal parking lot at 477 Main Street. A committee report from the Committee on Special Permits was received back for action. Further communication dated October 11th, 2024 was received from Jay Duran, the Superintendent of Public Works, regarding 477 Main Street.
Make a motion that communications be received, made part of the permanent record.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
That passes. Attorney Tobey, how are you tonight?
Very good, thank you. For the record, Attorney Joseph Tabby, Rubin and Redmond, 500 Unicorn Park Drive in Woburn, here on behalf of the petitioner. We'd like to request a continuance to the November 19th meeting. My client did not receive the updated drainage plan till the end of last week, and with the 3-day weekend, it wasn't possible for Jay Duran and his team to take a look at the plan. So they're going to look at it this week, provide us with comments. We'll make whatever changes need to be done, and then we'll be ready to go on November 19th.
Thank you.
Make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
Motion and a second to open the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
That passes. Is there anyone here who would like to speak in this matter? Please step forward. Seeing no one.
Make a motion that the public hearing be continued to the regular meeting of the city council on November 19th.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. That passes.
President Dillon, did you?
Yes, on this next matter, I'm going to recuse myself from this petition. Since the committee meeting, I've become aware that a family member is involved. Councilor Demers, if you take the gavel, please. Thank you, sir.
Next item on the agenda is on the petition by STA Properties at 56 Dragon LLC for special permit under section 7.3 and section 7.1, 5.1 subsection 57B to allow for the extension of alteration of a pre-existing non-conforming use for manufacturing at the premises and accessory overnight parking. A committee report was from the Committee on Special Permits, which received ought to pass with several conditions, and that's the communications. I
Attorney
believe that,
Ar-
yeah, the attorney's here.
Attorney Armstrong.
Good evening.
You have the floor.
Ladies and gentlemen, Attorney Carrie Armstrong for the petitioner. My office is located at 12 Chestnut Street in Andover. We are back tonight after going through several conditions at the last committee meeting. I don't have anything to add at the particular time, so we'll hear from the council and then see if we need to address anything else.
Are there any questions for the petitioner's
Make a motion to
attorney?
open the public hearing.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Is there anybody from the public that wishes to speak on this matter? What is the will of the council?
I'll make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
And before we proceed, I want to thank my fellow councilors for their due diligence and helping me with this petition, trying to work as closely as we could with the neighbors and also in collaboration with the new business that's going to move to Woburn. I think we came up with a fair proposal with the conditions that are outlined. So I'll make a motion that we accept the conditions as they were proposed.
On the motion.
So,
There's several of them.
I don't think you need to accept them. I would think you would just,
Make a motion that the special,
so there's a 7.3. First, you need a finding on a
we're going to
7.3.
do the finding second, but if you prefer.
You should make a finding before you,
Okay.
and then you can grant it with the conditions.
Okay, so I'm going to,
If that's what you choose.
yes. So I'm going to make a motion with the finding. The city council, under 7.3, finds that the extension or alteration of pre-existing non-conforming use for manufacturing at the premises is not more substantially detrimental to the neighborhood.
Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The
And-
ayes have it.
And I also would like to make a finding that the council finds that this special permit issued for overnight parking is issued under unique and extenuating circumstances, as this property is in a split zone, and this is not to be this case is not precedent-setting in any way as it relates to overnight parking.
On the motion.
Second.
On the motion,
Oh,
Councilor
excuse me.
Torre.
Was there,
Am I good? Attorney Armstrong, I just wanted to thank you and the petitioner for working with the council with the conditions. It was quite a journey, and I know personally, I hope that you come back in front of us sometime soon, because that means the business is growing and that you're looking for more. So I know personally myself that I'd be much more than willing to work with you and the petitioner when you come in front of us to, asking the council for additional resources to help your business grow. We all know that the businesses within the city is what helps shield some of our residents from the tax burden and allows us to keep our tax rate at a much lower rate than some of the surrounding communities. So thank you and the petitioner. I'm all set.
Any other comments on the motion? Councilor Ferrullo.
I just want to concur with Councilor Toro's thoughts. We welcome you to the city.
All right, a motion has been made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ayes have it.
And again, I'd like to make a motion that the conditions as set forth by the Special Permits Committee be granted, the petition be granted under those conditions.
So there's been a motion made that the special permit be granted with the conditions as outlined in the committee report.
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? The ayes have it.
And a moment of personal privilege, if I may.
Yes, you may.
Again, as I said, I welcome the business to the neighborhood, but I also really am quite grateful to those counselors who listened to the neighbors' concerns. Because as much as we welcome business here, we have a responsibility to listen to the neighbors as well. So for those of you who did that, I thank you. And I know the neighbors thank you too. Thank you, President.
All right, now we have to find the real one.
Got to find the real one, is that what he said?
Here he comes.
He was probably listed back there.
He's over here.
Welcome back, President.
You're welcome. You're welcome. I almost had you swept out of here.
Next item on,
Sorry, Lindsay.
that's okay. Next item on the agenda is Bond Brothers, Inc. for special permit under Section 5.157A, Section 5.157B, and Section 7.3 at 22 North Maple Street A and 22 North Maple Street R. A committee report from the Committee on Special Permits received ought to pass with various conditions. Further communication dated October 11, 2024 was received from Jay Duran, the Superintendent of Public Works, regarding Bond Brothers / CN Wood.
Councilor
Okay.
Tarbee, you have
Want
the
to
floor.
accept the
Motion to
communication?
accept.
Make a motion to accept the communications, make it part of the permanent record?
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
That passes. You have the floor, Councilor.
All right, for the record, Joseph Tybee, attorney with the law firm of Rubin and Redmond, 500 Unicorn Park Drive in Woburn. What I'd like to submit is a revised list of the conditions that were adopted in committee. The only revision is a new condition 24 that worked with Councilor DeMambro with input from Inspector Quinn and Mr. Duran today. So I'd like to just submit that, so you'll have it.
Make a motion that we receive those and make them part of the, well, and make them a working draft.
Second.
A motion and a second, all in favor? Aye. That passes.
Yeah, so nothing has changed except the date, and then you'll see the red line for condition 24.
Yes, yes. Don't forget me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so, as you know, we met with the Special Permits Committee on October 7th, and after a detailed discussion and review of a list of conditions that had been worked out with Councilor DeMambro, those conditions totaled 24, they now total 25. The committee voted unanimously that the petition ought to pass with those conditions. Since that meeting, Jay Duran requested that a drain in Edie Street be disconnected, which is a paper street to the left of the lot, and wanted a plan to address signage. So today, after discussing this with Councilor DeMambro, who had input from DPW Superintendent, and Tom Quinn weighed in today as well, we're looking to add the following conditions to the original list. So the condition would read, 30 days prior to any request for a temporary or final occupancy permit, the drain located at Edie Street will be disconnected, and actually, I think that was the first version. Let me get to the last version here. Yeah, so 30 days prior to any request for a temporary or final occupancy permit, with the petitioner providing proof to the building commissioner and DPW superintendent that such work has been completed as agreed. The drain located at Edie Street shall be disconnected, and the appropriate drainage plan requested by Superintendent Duran to prevent any potential flooding at the 22 North Maple Street site shall be approved, installed, and inspected, and signed off by Superintendent Duran. That is the only change from the committee meeting, and unless anyone on the council has any further questions, I'd ask that you move on the committee report.
Any questions for Attorney Tybee? Yes, Councilor DeMambro.
Attorney Tybee, I want to thank you and your client for the patience and the support on this. It wasn't too bad. I think we made a lot of headway in a short amount of time, and I think this is pretty tight language, and I think it's a good fit for your client as well as the city of Woburn with the conditions that we have proposed. And I also want to extend my appreciation and thanks to Commissioner Quinn and Superintendent Duran for their input on this. So I'd like to move on this, President Dillon, as well as my city councilors, on this petition tonight. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Make a motion, we open the public hearing?
Second.
Motion and a second to open the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
That passes. Is there anyone here in the audience that would like to speak in this matter? Please step forward. Seeing no one.
Make a motion to close the public hearing?
Second.
Motion and a second to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
That passes.
Make a motion to make the following finding under section 7.3. The city council finds that the proposed use by the petitioner is consistent with the past use of the site and is not substantially more detrimental than the existing non-conforming use to the neighborhood.
Before that, was there something, Councilor? You're good. Okay, there's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
That passes.
Make a motion that the special permit be granted with the 25 conditions as amended this evening.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
That passes.
Excellent.
Good luck, gentlemen.
Good luck.
Good luck. Welcome to Woburn.
Good job, Lou.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is a petition by Asheville LLC for a special permit under section 7.3 to rebuild a covered egress staircase and decking at the rear of an existing three-family dwelling at 100 Main Street. A communication dated October 9, 2024 was received from John Cashell, the planning director. Further communication dated October 15, 2024 was received from Attorney James A. Giuliano.
Make a motion that communications be received, made part of the permanent record.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
That passes. You are back.
I sure am, Mr. President. Good evening again. For the record, Attorney James Giuliano, Giuliano Law Group, 607 Main Street here in Woburn. On behalf of the applicant, Asheville LLC, with me here is Ralph Screnchi, the manager of the LLC, and available to answer any questions that the council does have tonight. We are seeking a special permit in accordance with Section 7.3 of the 1985 Woburn zoning ordinance for the construction of a new rear stairway, deck area, and roof as shown on the plans submitted with the record. We did supply today a revised sheet A1.1 and site plan, and I'll get into that a little bit more, but the reconfiguration of the parking did allow us to create more landscape area and was a little bit more viable, specifically with headlights to the other neighbors. And there is a right-of-way that I'll get into a little bit, which kind of pinned us a little bit. But as you can see from the pictures, the property is extremely dilapidated, run down, blighted. There's debris on the property, tree branches, construction debris. It's not a pleasant sight at this point. So my client did purchase it in December of 2023 with the intention of fixing it up in its entirety and to keep it as rentals for right now. The existing dwelling was constructed around 1890, consists of a three-family residential dwelling in the R2 zoning district at 100 Main Street in the corner of Main and Ash. If you're not familiar with the area, just to give you a point of interest, the W Cafe is right across the street. Best breakfast in town, so they say, but that's the point of reference. The lot is 6,700 square feet with 50 feet of frontage, both obviously being non-conforming in the R2 zoning district. and it does lack minimum side and front setbacks as required under Section 5.1 as well. The existing 3 residential units basically are on each separate floor, so obviously apartment 1 is on the first, second, and third, and so on. So each apartment has egress to the front of the building on Main Street, and obviously the second means of egress is the rear staircase, the fire escape that is, can't be used at this point. It's again, dilapidated and unsafe, hence the petition. Unit 1 also has an entrance specifically on Ash Street, as well as the other 2 egresses. Parking right now really can't fit the minimum required of 6 parking spaces. Our goal, and we accomplished that in this application, is getting 6 parking spaces comfortably on site, albeit they are tandem, and we will request a condition that obviously those be labeled for each unit, but they will be tandem. There is a right-of-way, as you can see, with a curb cut. That right-of-way is used for 96 and 98 Main Street. It has to maintain paved, it has to maintain unobstructed at all times. It is a 12-foot right-of-way. So our revised plan that we submitted today is actually using that right-of-way as a driveway. It is on our property. We are able to use it as long as we don't obstruct it at any time for 96 and 98. So the plan and the logistics of parking is to pull in that 12-foot right-of-way, which is essentially our driveway, and to swing a left into the respective parking spaces. If you look at the previous plan, it did have essentially 5 as you pull in to the right-hand side of the parking spot without utilizing the right-of-way, and it created a separate parking space along the side of the house. That was an inadequate plan because it didn't create landscaping that was feasible to us. Now we're able to meet the ordinance relating to the open space, which is a much better plan in our eyes. The proposed new 3-family will obviously be gutted in its entirety, interior, exterior, new windows, doors, siding, framing. Everything will be sort of brand new. The egress, which is the subject of this application, will be completely renovated. The reason for the special permit is because we are putting a 10-foot wide deck with the stairway and a roof. So if it rains, obviously, that would prohibit rain from hitting it. The goal is to basically have somebody that moves in there to have some usable outdoor space, create something that's aesthetically nice while using that egress that is required under the law. So again, the units are all going to be the same square footage. We're not expanding on the square footage of the house at all. So based on what was presented, we're not creating any new nonconformities. We're not exacerbating any nonconformities that are on site. We're creating parking that's required. We're meeting the requirements of the open space. And we're most of all improving the building, which is necessary, again, if you've seen that property, while creating a nice secondary means of egress, which is required by law. So based on those, we are seeking approval under Section 7.3 for a special permit, and this renovation will not substantially be more detrimental to the neighborhood that's what's there as of right now. So certainly we'll take any questions that the council has.
Questions for Attorney Giuliano? Yes, Councilor Toro.
Attorney Giuliano, looking at one of the pictures, more of a question, one of the existing pictures of the fire escape on the side of the house, which I think is where you're going to be putting the covered porches, covered escapes. Has that been cleaned up? Looks pretty nasty over there, so I'm just curious to see if the owner of the property has cleaned that up yet, because if not, I'd love to have that cleaned up.
It's gonna, it has not been cleaned up as of yet. I will direct my client to clean it up immediately just to get all the debris. The egress is still unsafe, but that'll hopefully be dealt with the special permit that is approved tonight. But I will have my client clean that all up immediately. There is a bunch of, as you probably saw from the pictures, it's not nice. It's debris, tree debris, buckets, construction. It's just a lot of stuff over the years that were just sort of thrown as a dumpster, basically.
Looking at the plans really quick, being in construction, the plans look great. The property is definitely in need of some substantial repair, so it will certainly make the area better. But I will defer to the ward councilor, but I'd love to have the petitioner or the owner clean up that property beforehand, though. And obviously during construction, we all know, being in construction, how those properties can become a mess pretty quick. So as long as he or she is maintaining the property and in order while he's renovating as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Councilor DeMambro.
Attorney Giuliano, I appreciate that your client's going to go ahead with this. I like the renderings, I like what I see. I hate to admit it, but I frequent the W Cafe, and I look out the window and I see that all the time and go, geez, I wish they would renovate that place.
Here we are.
Thank you. So, I'm looking forward to this, and I'm in support of this. I know it's a little tight over there, but I like what I see on the renderings, and anytime we can take and re-renovate an old building in Woburn and bring it up to what I'm seeing, I'm in support of that. So I thank you.
Councilor Papalato.
I too think that this is an upgrade to what's there. I think it's going to improve the area. I think it's a step in the right direction. So I'm anxious to hear more about it, but I think it's a good step in the right direction.
Councilor Campbell.
Yes, hi, Attorney. I just want to reiterate that, I just want to make sure, actually. So the apartments are the same size, it's just being renovated inside each of those apartments?
100% correct.
Yes, okay. And I love the parking improvements, absolutely necessary. And you said they will be marked?
They will be labeled, assigned to each apartment number, correct?
Yeah, okay. Yes, I agree. As Ward Alderman, we absolutely need to have this property improved, and I really do appreciate that someone's coming forward to do it. So, thank you.
Anyone else? From the chair, just one thing. Love to see this happening with a dilapidated property brought back to life, but on the proposed plot plan, the seal is missing. Is there any reason?
The what is missing, Mr.
The
President?
seal. The stamp.
Oh, yeah, this was done today. I would just request that we submit a plan that's sealed. We just renovated, we got this today, so I wanted to make sure we got something in for the record, but I will get that sealed. Thank you for catching that. Yep.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Second.
Motion and a second to open the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
That passes. Is there anyone here in the audience that would like to speak in this matter? Please step forward. Seeing no one.
Make a motion that the public hearing is continued to the regular meeting of the council on November 19th, and the matter be referred to the Committee on Special Permits.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
That passes.
Next item on the agenda is a petition by Tree Top Home LLC for a special permit under section 7.3 of the Woburn zoning ordinances to raise a pre-existing non-conforming four-family dwelling and rebuild a new four-story dwelling at 5 Bennett Street. A communication dated October 8th, 2024 was received from John Cashell, the planning director, and further communication dated October 11th, 2024 was received from Jay Duran, the DPW superintendent, regarding 3 to 5 Bennett Street. Further communication dated October 15th, 2024 was received from Attorney Thomas W. Lawton regarding 5 Bennett Street.
Make a motion the communications be received, made part of the Department of Records.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
That passes.
Good evening, Mr. President. Again, for the record, Attorney James Giuliano, Giuliano Law Group, 607 Main Street here in Woburn, on behalf of Treetop Homes LLC. With me here tonight is Sid Gaylott, the manager of said LLC. We are seeking, again, a special permit under Section 7.3 of the 1985 Woburn zoning ordinance to raise the existing four-family dwelling located at 5 Bennett Street and construct a new four-family dwelling as proposed with the application and plans. The existing property does consist of a four-family residential dwelling built circa 1910. Contains about 6,500 square feet of living area on a first, second, and partial third floor. It is located in the R2 zoning district and contains 7,200 square feet of land, 70 feet of frontage, which both are non-conforming. where 15,000 square feet is required and 125 feet is required. Also is non-conforming relating to the front, side, and rear setbacks, as well as lot coverage and open space requirements. My client is proposing to raise and construct a new four-family residence as supplied in the application. Right now, all units will mirror each other, meaning the front and the back. So we'll have Unit 1 and Unit 3 at 1,641 square feet. Unit 2 is proposed at, Unit 2 and 4 will be proposed at 1,593 square feet. We have been in a lot of conversation with the neighbors, with Jay Duran, and multiple other departments relating to this property. So we are going to ask for a continuance, but our plan is to speak to the neighbors, perhaps a neighborhood committee meeting of some sort, to see what the neighbors have to say about this. I know it's not favorable at this point, but I do understand that this has been a prior application as well. We are looking to work with the council, we are looking to work with the city, we are looking to work with the neighbors to see if something does fit in this spot and allows my client to renovate or create a new structure and make everybody happy at the same time. So, and again, we're still waiting for Jay Duran, but we have been in correspondence with Jay Duran, and Jay has made a couple of requests that we are making sure that we are amenable to and performing as we currently speak. So that being said, I don't want to get too much into the details of the project if they do change based on Jay Duran's comments and the neighborhood meetings comments. I think those will be very productive. So we will have those conversations, and we request that continuance to the next meeting. I think we can probably be effective and have everything done, but I'll leave it to the council to ask any questions at this point up until now.
Any questions? Councilor Demias.
I guess in a nutshell, I'm just going to say, for the neighbors' sake, I think it'd be vital during some of those community meetings to point out what's different than the previous proposal this council has seen.
Yep.
Just so that you can outline if any of their concerns or considerations were taken into account early on. I mean, I'm open-minded, but I do appreciate that the petitioner is going to be reaching out to the neighbors to get their feedback and see what we can do, what you can do there. But again, the original proposal, I couldn't stand behind that. So I'm hoping that there's some sort of panacea that you can find with the neighbors and the petitioner and address it so that everyone's happy.
Through the president, I think, my client and certainly myself were attuned to the history of this prior application. And our intent and my intent is not to have that same sort of process at this point in time. So that's why I think it's important that we do work with the neighbors and see if there is something that we can come up with.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
A motion and a
withdraw.
second to open the public, yes,
Withdraw.
Councilor
I just,
Vaughn.
thank you, President and Councilor Demers. I just wanted to echo what Councilor Demers said, and one of the most important things you're going to have to get across to the neighbors is what exactly is different, and how, even more importantly, is the person who owns this building going to be different moving forward? Because that's going to be a big question in everybody's mind. How is he going to be different this next time around? Right? It's got a rundown building, it's always run down, it's always a mess. Let me build it shiny and new and it won't be a mess anymore. That's a big question I would want to know if I were those neighbors, so good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll make
Yes.
a motion to open I'll withdraw
Councilor
again.
Viola.
Thank you, Mr. President. I believe the last time this was in front of us, there was a comment about there being trash and debris out in the yard. Has that been cleaned up since?
I can ask my client, but any debris or trash that's out there, I was by there yesterday, I believe. I didn't notice anything out in front, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist, so I will talk to my client and have everything cleaned up.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
Motion and a second to open the public hearing, all in favor?
Aye.
That passes. Councilor Demias, would you read into the record the letter from Attorney Lawton as an abutter, please?
I gotta find that, 1 second.
Would you like me,
Yeah,
Yeah, Madam
that
Clerk,
would be
if you
great.
could.
Thank you, Clerk Higgins.
You're giving me more
need a
responsibilities,
copy?
Mr. President, huh?
I want to keep you on your
I got enough
toes.
to worry about myself, thank you.
right here.
I have it.
Thank you.
5 Bennett Street, Woburn, Mass. Woburn, Mass. 01801. Dear Sir and Madam Councilors, please accept this letter regarding the aforementioned application for a special permit. I am the trustee of the 4 Bennett Street Nominee Realty Trust. As an abutter, I must raise concerns about the present proposal, specifically traffic volume, traffic congestion, noise, and odor. The most significant problem is obviously parking, or the lack thereof. Whether this site could support 8 legitimate parking spaces is highly questionable. The density of the proposal, increasing the number of parking spaces on an already undersized lot, will cause more street parking, which will create a nightmare for snow removal for the entire neighborhood. For all the reasons I, on behalf of the trust, must object. Very truly yours, Thomas W. Lawton, trustee, 4 Bennett Street Realty Trust.
Thank you, Clerk Higgins. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak in this matter? Please step forward. How are you tonight?
Good.
Please state your name and address.
Sasha Hernandez, 13 Bennett Street, so I'm 3 doors down. I want to thank Councilor Mercer Bruin for mentioning the concerns about the current state of the property and whether when they build a new property, are they actually going to maintain it? I also talked before you during the last hearing, and I want to reiterate, there's a lot of trash still on the property. Sorry. And it has not been maintained well. They've owned it for 4 years, unlike 100 Main Street, so you'd think that after 4 years they would have found a way to maintain it. And it's also very flood prone, which makes me particularly concerned about their wanting to decrease the percent open area on the property from 45% to 18% in order to accommodate those 8 parking spots. And everyone on the street appreciates them accommodating the additional parking on the lot, but I think paving the lot and only having 18% be open will only exacerbate the neighborhood's flooding problems. And there's mature trees on the property that would be torn down, and additionally they're proposing leveling the lot, and there's no mention of a retaining wall, so I'm concerned for neighbors up the hill. And that's most of my concerns. I'm happy that it's being postponed. I will say 100 Main Street seems like a great example for this. I would love to see this house renovated, fixed up, not increased, not paving the entire lot. Everyone agrees it's a nuisance property. Everyone knows it needs to be fixed up. I just don't think this is the right proposal for fixing it up. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in this matter? Please step forward. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Adam Carignan. I own 6 Court Street. We've been there since 2010. We've sank a lot of time, money, blood, sweat, and tears into that. I'm a fellow carpenter, builder. We abut their entire rear line, all 71 feet of it. A few things that I see just in these plans right off the bat is they don't have a proposed height. I think they're going to be hard pressed to stay under 35 feet on that. Looking at their 3D rendering here, it looks like their height to sill is at least 2 feet off the grade. And also looking at their lot lines, the existing plan shows an elevation change to our property line of a maximum of around 7 feet, which would require engineering of a retaining wall. Also, there are, as Sasha mentioned, mature trees, one at least around 100 feet. And I don't know if we know any fun facts about trees, but a mature 100-foot tree can off-gas about 40,000 gallons of water a year. So between paving, most of that lot, making what I abut into a parking lot, essentially, and getting rid of the trees, which it's nice, as trashy as the property is now, it's nice not to be able to see it during the summer. There's going to be huge water issues, and I obviously need some assurances that my yard is not going to fall down into their yard. And as my line is around 100 feet, it extends further towards Church Street. There would have to be some sort of return on that retaining wall to deal with that. I think that's mostly what I have to do. Sorry for my outburst earlier when they said that they would talk to neighbors. I would think that I'd probably be one of the first that they would come to, as I have the most property line in common with them.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak in this matter? Please step forward. How are you, sir?
Doing good, how are you?
Very good, thank you.
My name is Christopher Sylvia. I live at 13 Bennett Street. So I have some broadly similar comments to my wife, but just wanted to put them in for here. One of the characters that 7.3 allows for the council to consider our character and visual effects. And Woburn, Bennett Street is a 1840s street. My wife has done a lot of research on this, has, you know, character to the houses, and I would like to see the proposal fit that better. You know, these are sort of Greek Revival, colonial houses, typically, and a lot of them are very, you know, very much the same as they have been and have been fixed up. You know, I have personally invested tens of thousands of dollars into our house and making sure that it can stay up and, you know, continue to have another 100 years. So that's just my 2 cents as far as character. One thing, though, that is not in character with the you know, with the street, or what it should be, is, you know, completely paving the lot. You know, I think 18% of open area, you can call that completely paved, and I just don't think that's something that the city council should accept when it has the special permit granting authority. Flooding is a major concern. I have a couple of pictures from flooding at the site, if I can give them to you. I don't know if that's how exactly Robert Rules of Order works, but.
Receive those as bio.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
That passes.
You can pass them around.
I've put some dates on those.
Hold on till the clerk.
No, they're not all the same.
Just hold on till, so the clerk can take notes. Thank you.
As the members of the council can see or will see, you know, these are instances where Bennett Street has substantial amounts of water on it, and you know, that is all from rainfall and flash flooding, and, you know, I think indicates that the property owner needs to consider the impact of rainfall and not do things like take 45% to 18%. You know, as you know, 45 versus 50 on the zoning code is the lot coverage, and 18% is very far away from that. You know, flooding is something that crosses property lines. Water does not obey property lines, and so, you know, this is a real collective issue for the neighborhood, in my opinion. In addition, you know, a lot of the complaints that were raised at the previous hearing have, you know, there's been no progress, or, you know, in my opinion, has gotten worse. You know, there's been some issues with rodents in the neighborhood, and you know, I observed you know, loose trash on the property when I was there this morning. One other thing, you know, that I would like to ask the council to consider is just, when you have a development like this, how many people are getting displaced, how many new units are being created. You know, I think that going through all the, you know, all the disruption of construction, you know, when you're making progress on building more homes and more residences, that could be worth it. But, you know, based on my sense for how many people live there now versus how many people live there under the new proposal, I think you'd have, I don't think it would make much progress in the front. You know, I want to echo Thomas W. Lawton's concerns about traffic. You know, you can have on the lease, you can have on that this is your parking spot, but when you've got it, it's all the way in the back. You're going to go all around. You're going to do that when it's snowing. I just don't think that's going to happen realistically. But, yep, ask the city council to consider all of that. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak in this matter? Please step forward.
Good evening, members of the council. My name is Margaret Pinkham. I'm the manager of MM5 Family LLC at 42 Pleasant Street. My objections to the first design go-around are on the record. I don't want to waste your time because this matter is being continued. But my review of the new design shows that the only real difference was they took off the word bedroom. They removed one room that was a bedroom, and now it's a family room. And it's still an oversized building on an undersized lot that's going to have 16 full bathrooms. Who has 16 full bathrooms apart from hotels or rooming houses or boarding houses? I know the applicant has tried to improve The parking, I mean, the driveways are substandard. The parking is so substandard. What's going to happen when there's snow? Where's the contractor going to push the snow? I mean, it's too much for this lot. And so I appreciate all the effort that the city council is putting into it, as are the other city departments. And as I indicated the first time the design came, anytime there's a hearing on this, I will show up and speak in opposition to it. This is too much for this lot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak in this matter? Please step forward. How are you tonight, Ms. Doherty?
Good. Eileen Doherty, 9 Mishwam Road. I own the property at 6 Bennett Street. I just want to say I'd love to work with them here. The property is just too big. The property that he's proposing is a lot bigger than the property that's there. I don't think there's any need of it. He's got, as was already addressed, the parking in the back. It's a 7-foot, within 2 parking spaces horizontally, it goes up 7 feet. That doesn't exist. That can't work. Let alone, it's only about 9 feet off the property. So you're supposed to have cars driving down a driveway, then going in, parking 2-car tandems, so there's 4 cars. The only way out of there is to back up. I don't know why they have to be greedy and make the building as big as it is. I think there's a simple fix to it. Just make the building smaller. Right now, there's 5 units in it, 4 of which are legal. So I think if they just condense the building a little bit, make the driveways a little wider so that people can actually drive down there, it will work. I'm not opposing them doing 4 units, but they don't have to be greedy about it and make them that huge. And I agree with Margaret. They've got that, they took the word bedroom off in the basement. I mean, none of us is stupid here. We all know it's gonna be another bedroom. It's that simple. They don't have to be greedy and make the building that big. That's all. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eileen.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak in this matter? Seeing no
I'll
one.
make a motion that the public hearing be continued to the regular meeting of the City Council on November 19th, and that the matter be referred to the Committee on Special Permits.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
That passes.
Next item on the agenda is a petition by Hannaford and Dumas Corporation for special permit pursuant to Section 5.1, subsection 48B, subsection 42, subsection 57B, Section 7.3, Section 8.2.5, and Section 15 to allow for construction of 2-story addition approximately 6,960 square feet of additional gross floor area with overnight parking of 1 box truck with reduction of parking at 24 to 26 Con Street. Just as a matter of fact for the public, Council Frill cannot vote on the matter, but he may participate.
Okay, Attorney Joseph Tabby, Rubin and Redmond, 500 Unicorn Park Drive in Woburn. Here on behalf of the petitioner, I informed Councilor Papalato this afternoon that I was going to request leave to withdraw without prejudice. As I represented at the last public hearing a couple months ago, that there was an activity and use limitation on this property. My client is engaged in an environmental engineering firm, and there are a number of tests that need to be done. So he's going to even evaluate whether or not he's going to go forward. If he decides to go forward, we will refile a petition and start the process over.
Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor.
Thank you.
Any questions for Attorney Tabby?
Make a motion to open the public hearing?
Second.
Motion and a second to open the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
That passes. Is there anyone here that would like to speak in this matter? Please step forward. Seeing no one.
I'll make a motion that the public hearing is closed.
Second.
Motion and a second to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
That passes.
Make a motion that the leave to withdraw without prejudice be granted.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
That passes.
On the petition by AutoWorks, Inc. for a special permit under Section 5.1, subsection 44, to amend a previously issued special permit dated May 27, 2021, to remove a condition number 2 to allow for a spray booth at 921 Main Street.
Attorney Giuliano, you have the floor.
Yes, Mr. President. Good evening again. For the record, Attorney James Giuliano, Giuliano Law Group, 607 Main Street here in Woburn, on behalf of the applicant, AutoWorks, Inc., who is the operator of the business, and Terra Vera Group, who's the owner of the building. Without really getting into it, we are seeking a modification that we would like to, a special permit that we would like to continue to the next December meeting. We do have some items to address with many departments, many neighbors. And we do want the opportunity to, if this does move forward, to bring sort of expert testimony to the council. We weren't able to procure anybody. There's a couple people that we will need if this does move forward to come in and testify as to the spray boots, the mechanicals, the equipment, short of microbiology at this point. But we, if my client does decide to move forward with this, we will need to do that. So we are requesting a continuance until the December hearing.
Thank you. Questions? Councilor DeMambro.
Attorney Giuliano, you and I have gone back and forth with this, and you know my concerns with this, and you know where I stand with this. My concern is for the neighbors. This is a shop that's right in a residential neighborhood, and unless your client can prove to me there'll be zero emissions coming out of that building, and there'll be no sense of aroma or any type of fumes that could cause any type of hazards to any of the neighbors, the daycare, the restaurants in that neighborhood, and the elderly that are just within 100 feet of that place, all over that area. I am not in support of this. So if they bring their A game, they better bring all of what I'm asking to the game. Thank you.
Councilor Viola.
Thank you. I want to echo what Councilor DeMambro said. I have a body shop that's sort of near me. I can smell it when it's nice outside. They leave their doors open, and that's in close proximity as well to an elementary school. This elementary school, the Alta Vestra, is much closer to where this body shop is. So I would be very hard-pressed to approve this, but I look forward to seeing who you can bring forward to try and persuade us to vote in favor of this.
Anyone else?
Make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
Motion and second to open the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
That passes. Is there anyone here who would like to speak in this matter? Please step forward. How are you tonight, sir?
Very well, thank you. Mr. Chairman, members, my name is Tom Mullen. I'm a lawyer, and I'm here as the special counsel for the city of Woburn in this case. I just wanted to introduce myself. I was asked to represent the city in this matter because City Solicitor Salvati had a conflict. And I am neither for nor against the application. I simply wanted to let you know that I'm available to answer any procedural questions, this being a remand hearing.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Take your time, sir. How are you tonight?
Good, how you doing?
Very good, thank you.
Paul Vartanian, 8 Lord Terrace.
Sorry, can you repeat your name again, please?
Oh, Paul Vartanian with a V. What Councilor DeMambro said was perfect. Didn't they have testimony last time about this? Special testimony about how the spray boots aren't going to be bad, but they couldn't prove anything, you know what I mean?
There was testimony in the previous, yes.
Right. But, it's just kind of crazy that they keep coming back here every time, they want to get a permit for something they were already denied for, you know what I mean? But, I guess we'll see what happens in December. But I am highly opposed, and I know all my neighbors are too.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak in this matter? How are you tonight, Mr. Pale?
I'm fantastic. Thank you. Thank you. You like that, huh?
I did.
Yeah. My concern is if something like this is approved with the existing zoning that's there, there could be residential above it at a future date. So if something like this passed, how does this special permit sit 30 years from now, 50 years from now? Does it hold back that area? Thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anyone else? See,
No, just one more, just to clarify, because I know this got brought up. So, and again, Councilor DeMambro and I had some very good conversations about this, and I just want to be on the record that unless I can determine myself that there is testimony that is clear and convincing, and that is different than what was brought forward at the last special permit hearing, we will be making a decision to bring this forward or not. I can just, say that. I will have deference on this because, again, I don't want to waste the city's time, and I don't want to waste my client's time. So I just wanted to get that on the record. So I understand the abutter did mention what's different. I don't want anybody to think that we're just trying to push this through and hopefully get it again. That's not the case unless we can clear and convincingly show the council members that this is something that's different and we're providing additional information. I have no intention, my client has no intention of bringing this forward, so.
thank you, sir. Yes, Councilor Brewer.
I'm glad you said that, because that was going to be my next question. Do you have something that's different? So when you do come back, if you do come back, can you, attorney, make sure you're able to make a clear contrast from what we saw before and why it's different?
100% will, yep.
Clear.
Yep, absolutely. And I think that's, that's due and warranted to the council, so, absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Make a motion to continue the public hearing to the regular meeting of the council on December 3rd.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
That passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is a petition by Manganaro Northeast LLC, care of Kenny Gill, President 52, President, for special permit under Section 5.1, subsection 57B, to allow for the accessory overnight parking of 4 commercial vehicles at 11 State Street. A communication dated October 10th, 2024 was received from Scott R. McNeil, Hinkley Allen, 100, from Hinkley Allen, regarding a request to withdraw without prejudice.
Make a motion the communication be received, made part of the permanent record.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
That passes.
Make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
Motion and a second to open the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
That passes. Is there anyone here that would like to speak in this matter? Please step forward. Seeing no one.
Make a motion that the public hearing be closed.
Second.
Motion and a second to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
That passes.
Make a motion that the leave to withdraw without prejudice be granted.
Second.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
That passes.
Next item on the agenda is a petition by President Dillon per request of the mayor to amend the Woburn zoning ordinances and Woburn zoning map regarding the estate's MBTA 3A communities legislation to include the new MBTA non-age restricted multifamily overlay district. A communication dated October 3rd, 2024 was received from Council Mercer Bruin regarding follow-up note for yesterday's email. Further communication dated October 4th, 2024 was received from Council Mercer Bruin regarding MBTA email from Jeff Davis with an attachment dated October 4th, 2024, from Jeff Davis, Senior Planner, Horsley Witten Group, regarding MBTA Communities Affordable Housing Memo, Woburn.
Make a motion the communications be received, made part of the permanent record.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
That passes.
Make a motion to suspend the rules to allow the mayor to speak.
You don't, it says.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Mayor Concanon, how are you tonight?
Very well, Mr. President. How are you?
Very good, thank you.
Good evening to you and members of the council. We're here again tonight on this matter, this proposed compliant MBTA Communities Law draft ordinance change and map. Since we last spoke, there was some clarification sought and I believe obtained. Questions the council may have had regarding the impact of the proposed language from the planning board on a further amendment to what's in front of you. So at this point, I think we have the best efforts of the city and its departments proposing this draft that is now in the hands of the council. I have Planning Director Cashel with me here tonight. If you have any additional questions or comments regarding what you've received from Mr. Davis and from the Planning Board, But I would say at this point, it's up to the council to determine what it would like to do next in terms of compliance with the MBTA Communities Act. I'll turn it over to Director Cashel in 1 second, but just to let you know, just by way of context and background, since we last spoke, one of the driving factors, I believe, in the city's desire to comply is the possibility of jeopardizing state grant funding. As we know, when this state law was passed, there was an impression that there would be minimal amount of grant funding at risk. And then I think we began to realize that there could be more and more potential grant funding at risk for communities that don't comply. And what we received just in the last week are 2 grants that were awarded to the city of Woburn. One for $100,000, the Housing Choice Grant Program, which would support Woburn Center's downtown plan. And the second is a $115,000 grant, Site Readiness Program, which would support the New Boston Street Opportunity Analysis, long-term planning in that section of the city. Each of those grant awards come with the caveat that we must be in compliance before we can receive these funds. Just put that out there so you understand that there are real grant funding opportunities at risk. The other brief update I would give you is we last spoke a few weeks ago, and I had given you an update that Mr. Scott Bosworth from the MBTA had come to the city to talk very generally about possible interest on the part of state government, the MBTA, MassDOT, and Massport, in potentially developing the area around Anderson Regional Transportation Center. After that initial conversation with Mr. Bosworth, which was really just a high-level, what do you think kind of meeting, I actually had a visit last week, a visit from Lieutenant Governor Driscoll, making the rounds to various communities. We chatted about a whole bunch of topics, and one of them was the Anderson Regional Transportation Center and potential interest from the state in developing it. Again, not very specific, not very detailed, but kind of feeling out whether there might be interest. I made sure to share with her our community's view and our progress towards the MBTA Communities Act and what we have been doing and where it stands now, and that nothing has been decided yet. I was then invited for a follow-up meeting with the Lieutenant Governor. I went in there today to the State House, and we talked a little bit more about, again, potential interest on the part of the state and its various agencies in some sort of development at the MBTA Anderson site. Everybody realizes that that is the area that we're proposing for our MBTA communities zone, and I just want to make sure the council is fully informed that there are these parallel tracks. One is the city's efforts to comply, and the other is the state's interest in possibly developing a multi-use type of development in the area of Anderson. So those are the 2 updates since we last spoke. The third update, of course, is the information you've received from Mr. Davis and Director Cashel on the impact of the planning board's recommended language to what you have in front of you. And I'm going to let him speak to the specifics of that, unless anyone has any questions of me at this time.
Questions for Mayor Concanon?
Director?
How are you, Mr. Cashel?
Very good, thank you. How are you doing?
Excellent, thank you.
I'd just like to add, with the mayor, he gave a great summary of everything that's going on with this proposal. I do want to thank Councilor Mercer Bruin for really working with Jeff Davis. He's been our town consultant for the MBTA overlay district and helping with the language of the ordinance itself. It's an important memo that he did send to the city on October 4th. Lou, I don't know if you've had anything to do with this also, but this is really good work, in my opinion, following up with the communication that had been going on. But in his memo of October 4th, Jeff Davis did give us what I think is a good substitute for the council to consider in the final draft of this ordinance. And he crosses all the Ts, dots all the Is relative to what we can establish as the best language to adopt, covering the interests of the city and being specific. As I pointed out earlier in this whole process, there's no affordability mentioned in the statute itself. The first guidelines did not mention anything about affordable housing. Affordable housing came into the picture with this through the guidelines and through the interests of communities. We're trying to recognize the need for affordable housing in this state, and the voices were heard by this administration, and they did start to inject revisions into the guidelines that do provide for affordable housing, or an affordable housing component. Unfortunately, relative to the 25% affordable housing, the MBTA site, which is being proposed as our overlay district, that's not in a 40R. So right now, it doesn't call for or allow for 25% affordable housing. The maximum that can be entertained in accordance with the content of Jeff Davis's memo is 20%. But that needs an economic analysis, and if that's not acceptable by the Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities, then it might be reduced to 15% and may even be reduced to 10%. But all of those conditions or possibilities are in this proposed amended language having to do with affordable housing, an affordable housing component within the ordinance itself. I don't know if you have anything more to add to that, Counselor?
Councilor Mercer Bruin.
I'm just glad we asked the question. Had we not, we would have been under the assumption that we could include 25%, which was a big concern because as this property gets built out, and it's no surprise to me that the state is interested. They showed that interest months and months ago. So I'm just concerned even more so now, because as this property does get developed, we're going to have a hard time keeping up with our affordable housing component, which we have done to date a great job at. But that's neither here nor there. Mr. Davis made it very clear what we can and cannot do, and I appreciate him getting back to me about that. So thank you, John, for all of your work on this. I think everybody here knows how I feel about this proposal. I haven't changed my mind. I feel that the housing is important. It's very important. The affordable piece is very important. But the way in which this is being gone about with zero planning at all is detrimental to this community and does not serve the purpose that it's supposed to. So for those reasons, I will not support it. But again, I thank you for the effort and your work on it. I understand the concerns about, the money that the state is withholding. There's a word for that, but I won't use it. Anyway, thank you, sir.
Can I clarify?
I appreciate everything that you've done, and I just will say to the council, I know you've heard before that, it's very unlikely anything's going to happen down there. Well, I've been saying for over the last year, why would the state be asking us to do this if something wasn't going to happen? Something is going to happen sooner rather than later. So, again, I can't support it tonight for all of those reasons. I support housing, I support affordable housing, I've supported the 40R that we've done, I've supported all the things that over the last 10 years have gotten us where we've gotten. But this makes no sense. So, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll make a
Anyone
motion-
else?
Oh, sorry.
Councilor Papalato.
Councilor Bruin, you made all excellent points there, but I think this fits into the necessary evil category. I don't think anyone would run and sign up for this, without being forced into it. The mayor made a great case as to some of the specifics of what could happen here. So for those reasons, I'll be supporting this.
Councilor DeMambo.
John, I just want the public to know that, we didn't take this lightly. We have vetted this. We have gone back and forth. We've sat in numerous meetings. We've done our due diligence on this. And, this is coming from the State House. This isn't coming from the City Council, the mayor. This is coming from the State House. It's coming from the governor. And there's ramifications one way or the other. If we vote yay or if we vote nay. And I just want the public to be clear. We have vetted this. We've gone round and round, and we've tried every aspect and variable we could exhaust on this. So it is what it is, and I will have to support this just because we do need housing, and I understand the housing situation and the lack of housing. So I will be in support of this. Thank you.
Councilor Demirs.
Thank you, Mr. President. Obviously, out of a bad situation, rallying together, we could come up with the best possible option for the city of Woburn. I think what we all need to keep in mind is that if this zone wasn't in the MBTA area, the MBTA could have gone and developed their land without us. That's the exception to the rule that they had, especially over at the property that has the, next to the bank and Dave & Buster's that has the, what am I trying to say, the billboard. They could do that without local permitting process. Because because the state-owned land is exempt from a lot of the local permitting, if I'm correct. Director Cashel.
Yeah, and I just want to clarify, there's still primary zoning in place.
Of course.
That,
Would dictate
anyone
anything.
could come in and
But
propose.
normally under the MBTA,
Yeah.
under the MBTA, there are certain exemptions from home rule, I believe, if I remember correctly.
You have to do a 40R.
Well, they could certainly do that. But I think, looking at the balance of smart growth on the affordable piece, I mean, you don't want to be too restrictive, because then I think the types of developments that we're looking in that area is more of a mixed smart use, where there's shops, where there's office space, where there's apartments above them, rather than just these giant megaplex apartment buildings. So I think keeping that balance was important in this proposal. And it does protect us from 40B in the future. I'm not confident about it protecting us from 40B in the future, because I could see after this is all said and done, where all cities and towns approve the MBTA communities law in place, that next year Governor Haley announces in her budget that she wants to increase the 40B law by 5%.
I know.
I could see that happening, because we're all about moving the goalposts on municipalities. So just keep that in mind. And, I initially was in favor when Mayor Galvin came down of going the legal route to look at it. And the only one that's being heard yet has been the Milton lawsuit. And that's not even to say that that the state can't impose it on them. It's to say whether the Mattapan trolley qualifies them under 3A. So they're trying to get it so that a train stop is dictated by the court saying, oh, that doesn't qualify. That's their only way out. It isn't just a straight legal approach to exempt Milton from this statute. So I think, putting our minds together, I know Councilor Mercer-Bruin and Councilor DeMambro did yeoman's work on this to make sure it would be the least restrictive and least negative as possible. But I think moving forward, if we're going to have a partner with the T that we can sit down with and work with on this issue, I think it's moving in the right direction. Does anybody want to say we're going to have over 1,500 apartments constructed after over 15 years we did basically that? No, but we got to play the hand that we're dealt with. And I give a lot of credit to everybody because there was planning involved in a lot of this here locally. And I'm glad to see this memo for clarification from Mr. Davis, because it clarifies a lot of what can also occur if the Commonwealth reviews it with the economic analysis. I did also see that Governor Healy announced, but I think it's not enough, and I spoke to the mayor about this, where there's going to be a infrastructure fund to kind of balance off the impacts. I think it was a starter amount because there was only 15 million in there, but I think that goes hand in hand with any types of developments, the impacts that it may have on infrastructure in the cities that have to abide by this statute, hoping to lobby our legislature, if this does come to fruition, to make sure that we have increased funds in that, so if there's a strain on our infrastructure, that we'll be able to benefit out of that bank. So hopefully, again, it's a tough situation, but, you have to make the most out of it, because the moment the state government starts restricting grant funding, you don't know until it's gone when we lose all those benefits of even the smallest grant. So I appreciate all the work that's been done on this. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you. Councilor Viola.
Thank you, Mr. President. First, I want to thank Councilor DeMambro, Councilor Mercer-Bruin for all your hard work you've put on this. John, your hard work. From the beginning, I've been against this, but as we're seeing as it's playing out, the government, the state saying, you don't play ball with us, we're taking away your grants. So it's tough to think about, but we have to, at the end of the day, we got to think about that there's a lot of money at stake that if we don't play ball with the state, it's going to affect the city negatively and affect our residents negatively, even more so. So I will be supporting this, and thank you.
Councilor Campbell.
Yes, hi. I just would like to say, and I'm just really hoping that the residents of Woburn understand that this is the State House and Governor Healy that is doing this. I mean, they are, in my view, infringing on what we as a city should be able to do. We should be able to plan our city to make it work, and we have. Over many years, all of these councilors have worked very hard to get affordable housing into Woburn, to the point where we were able to raise the percentage, which was wonderful, and we got into a safe harbor, which was really fantastic. And then, in my view, this comes, and honestly, it's being shoved down our throats, really. We don't, I feel, have a choice. We should be able to say as a city, okay, if you want more apartments, if we need more living areas, where can we put them successfully? I will say that Councilor Mercer-Bruin and Councilor Lou DeMambro did a fabulous job in working on this. And Lou, with the area that you figured out where to put these apartments, these living spaces, for what they're giving us, it's the best that we have. And that's the only way that I could say it. I just think it's extremely unfortunate that we have a state house and a governor that is doing it to all cities. And I just don't think it's right. And I just want people to realize this, that it's not us doing it, and we're doing the best we can with something that's not very good. It's a rotten apple, but we're cutting the rot off as much as we can. And so I will vote for it because we really don't have a choice. We need the grants for the city. We use the grants for so many things in the city. Our playgrounds constantly, you know, the new downtown that will take place. I just, I'm also very disappointed in the 10%. The fact that that's considered affordable housing. I mean, that was the whole idea, was so that people could afford to live in Massachusetts. But that, to me, just goes to show how they are not really serious about what's going on. Because when these buildings, some of these apartments are built, most people will not be able to afford to live in them. So how is that helping? It's not. But, once again, thank you to the councilors that worked on this. I will be voting for it. As Councilor Pappalardo said, it's almost like a necessary evil. We don't have a choice in the matter. But I do believe we did the best we could with what we have, and then hopefully everything's going to turn out okay. But thank you. And thank you for your work, because you worked tremendous. You spent many hours on this, and coming in new to the city, well, not new to the city, obviously you've been in the city for years, but new to the city, you really took it on immediately, and we have been able to roll forward and finally get it done. So I do thank you for that, John.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes.
So we've come this far, and a lot of work has been done, and you know, I really believe we have a very responsive governor and lieutenant governor, as the mayor pointed out earlier. He's had a lot of interaction lately with the lieutenant governor, and I think the next step for the governor to realize is that with all this housing that is going to be put forward and planned for at this point in time, we're going to need a lot of help, continuing help from the state. I think, you know, all of us speaking loud enough and informed enough, and this goes for all the communities that are MBTA communities, we're going to need a lot of assistance in building our infrastructure, addressing those issues. And, you know, we've already gotten a lot of attention from DOT. Just recently, we had a field visit with DOT officials and other engineers looking at making the Presidential Commerce Way Atlantic Avenue intersection, which is, you know, really subpar in its construction. You know, that's first generation. That was built over 30 years ago now. It's in need of a lot of help to make it safer for all flows of travel, whether it's pedestrians, bicyclists, and cars. And we conducted a field visit again last Friday, and we're well on our way to actually planning for a safer intersection at that high volume, high speed, high accident rate intersection. So that's one thing we're working at. And one of these grants is for the New Boston Street area to start better planning for the long-term prospects of development in that area. So that grant that was awarded just today, that's for us to begin planning for the infrastructure needs of that whole area and the future growth of that area. So I think you know, the next step is to start really planning for that and having the governor and her team start really working with the city of Woburn so that we can plan for the added growth that's, you know, well underway up there, but, you know, more to come in all likelihood. You know, progress never stops, that's for sure. That's almost as certain as death and taxes. But I think that's our next step. We have to be the voices, the council. You know, don't be bashful about writing your state reps and state senators and the governor. If they hear from you, that's how they'll start addressing things. They'll listen. And I think we do have a really good partner going forward in the governor's office. They're as responsive as the mayor is with local issues. And I can tell you, this mayor has his hand on the pulse of all the issues that are going on, and there's a multitude, as you guys know. You know, this is a busy city.
Thank you.
Much busier than the town I just came from.
Anyone else? Yes, Councilor DeMambro.
Director Cashel, I just want to reemphasize what you said. You know, as a good act of good faith, you know, we're going to vote this, and it looks like it sounds like it's going to pass. And I will say it on record. We need the state's help. There's a lot we need to update in this city that's decades overdue. And I hope they can come and help us update the many areas of our city, you know, that need it, that desperately need it. Because as far as I'm concerned, our infrastructure is probably, you know, 40 years overdue for a lot of these renovations that hopefully they're looking at to perform that we desperately need.
In the bright side of this, I can't overemphasize this tonight. The bright side of all of this is that I really believe that we have a governor that's willing to help communities do the planning and implementation of infrastructure. I guess there was another multi-billion-dollar bill that's either been acted on just today or it's going to be acted on in the very near future, and that's calling for, you know, billions of dollars to be invested in the infrastructure improvements throughout the Commonwealth. And you know, it's up to us to make sure, the City of Woburn and Mike's staff, all of us working together to get, you know, our piece of the pie. And you know, I'd say right now we're really working hard and getting as many grants as we're eligible for. And there's a lot of money. You know, Massachusetts is a very successful state with revenue production, and I don't think that's going to subside anytime soon. I mean, we are, you know, a successful state within the United States, and we do raise a lot of revenue, and there's a lot of improvements that we can afford as a state, and a lot of other states can't. And luckily, we don't get the weather that a lot of these other states get that, you know, create massive setbacks in the momentum of these other states we've witnessed recently with weather setbacks that are going to, you know, set those poor states back, you know, a decade or so. So we're lucky.
Excellent.
Thank you, John. Two questions from the chair, if I can, John. One is, the plan in front of us now, do we have anything from the state saying that it looks good? How confident are you that they're going to approve what's in front of us right now?
As far as the zoning ordinance is concerned, this ordinance as proposed with the amendment language that Jeff Davis suggests at the end of his memo, 100%. He ran that by Executive Office of Housing and Livable Communities also. So, you know, working with him, and he is a consultant for the state, working on our behalf. He's made sure all along the line that we're not straying off the reservation relative to what's acceptable language within the statute and the guidelines. So what is before you this evening, if you were to amend that one section having to do with affordable and replace that proposed amendment with the language that Jeff is suggesting in his memo, then you have 100% approvable zoning ordinance.
Thank you.
For sure.
Second question I have is, I thank Councilor Demers for the clarification about the infrastructure, possible money coming. But my question is there any component of this to help us if this all goes forward with the schools? Is there any?
The important thing to really understand in that is that this state is really willing to listen to communities and help address the issues, and hopefully financially. And that's what I see happening, is that you have a very responsive state government, much more responsive than in previous administrations, in my opinion. I know Governor Healy is, fresh and right out of the gate and, full of vinegar. But she's really engaged in what the actual real needs are of the state. And, she's juggling, a million things at once, I'm sure. And she has a very active lieutenant governor. And the administration team really very responsive. And that's the whole idea. I think a healthy state is a state where everybody in government is working together in a positive manner, in a productive manner, in recognizing the needs of the communities. And I just really believe you get a very responsive, active, proactive form of government. And it's all because of the people that are involved. And at the local level, I just really incredibly sense it at this level of, we have a real responsive local government trying to address as many issues as people are capable of. And, it's just every day you come to work and there's a lot to do. And, Mike's spearheading it. And, you guys working together with this mayor and all his staff that he's put together so far. And I think we're accomplishing a lot, and there's a lot to do. And I really think we can accomplish way more than what's been done in recent decades. I just really feel that positive about what's going on right now.
Thank you.
You got to keep the attitude going. You got to keep positive. Tomorrow's going to be a better day, and the next day is going to be a better day than that. So you just got to keep that attitude going, and work at it and address your constituent needs. And we've got a multitude of issues we always have to deal with. Improving our public schools, making sure we have a safe community. Police and fire, their needs are addressed so that we all feel comfortable living here and safe living in the city of Woburn. We all have our work cut out for us, but if we all work together, we're going to have a much better community. And that's what we all want. I know that's what I want.
Mr. President,
Yes.
I also would like to have something to say. Yeah, go ahead, Joe.
No, I was going to make a motion to open the public hearing, but.
Oh, yeah, I was just, John, I love your positive attitude and your diplomatic attitude on all of this. And saying that we have a responsive governor and all of that, but guess what? We wouldn't need this responsive governor if she wasn't putting the MBTA Communities Act onto all the cities. And the fact that they're going to be willing to give us money to be able to help alleviate the issues that the MBTA Community Act is going to bring up, well, that's great. But you know what? It shouldn't have been done in the first place. And do we need housing? Absolutely, we do. But when you're only putting 10% down on the housing, you can't tell me that you are serious about ridding Massachusetts and this Boston area from the housing crisis, because it is not. You're talking about probably having $3,500 to $4,000 per apartment in this area. Most people can't afford that. So if she seriously wanted to do something, she would have had that percentage go down of affordable housing. And that's what I think is a shame. But no, I think it's wonderful. Obviously, you're dealing with all of that, and you're working with them, and I'm glad that you see that. And I'm glad that they're willing to be able to get monies to come to Woburn. And I know this sounds fresh, but for something that they're putting on us.
Yeah. Again, put pen to hand, call them up, talk to them. I mean, that's how you get better government. You know, not that party has anything to do with it, but this is coming from a conservative Republican that I'm saying all this. So, you know, I get a lot of it, and there's a lot of aisle crossing. No, I'm just saying.
We will. Thank you.
I'm
Please
just
be
saying,
patient.
there's a lot of positiveness that can happen when people work together. And it doesn't matter party affiliation or anything. It's just that we have to recognize we're all in this together, and I think we can create a better government for the people, by the people, you know, by working together in a positive manner. That's all.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing.
Second.
Motion and a second to open the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That passes. Is there anyone here who would like to speak in this matter? Please step forward. Please state your name and address, sir.
Emil Barnes, 34 Merrimack Street. My question as a resident, and the concern is if there's going to be up to 2,500 units in the Anderson area, has there been adequate planning for additional roads or streets so that the overflow doesn't go through the residents?
Sir, can you just speak into the microphone and address the council?
Sorry.
Thank you.
All right. So my question is, for the proposed site of Anderson, the Anderson rail station, and if up to 2,500 units are going to be placed there, have there been additional planning for the infrastructure, such as additional roads or major transportation areas, so that the additional congestion doesn't overflow into the surrounding residents?
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to speak in this matter? How are you, Ken?
Fantastic. Again.
State your name and address for the record,
Ken
please.
Parley.
Thank you.
5 Marion Street, North Woburn. Thank you, guys. We know this thing's going through. I would like to express that we try to have another arrow in our quiver and delineate the density of this proposal. Now, there's 18 pages of verbiage in this, and the word family is written 142 times. Our response is, if you're a family and you're coming to Woburn, somebody's going to be above you or below you. I saw this as a blue-collar bill, a family bill, and this is our response. So it's going to go through, but there's been several other precedents, say, for example, in Newburyport, where you have 5-acre overlays and you identify zoning that's existing as long as the density is 15 units per acre, which is our cluster developments. Let's ask the EOHLC, all right, if this is conforming and we lower the density of this, maybe this adds negotiations with the state. Maybe we can get more resources for our schools, an impact fee, or something of that nature, so that we can build a new North Woburn school, so we can spend $100 million on a mega Joyce. I'd love to see the Kennedy stay the Kennedy, but please ask the EOHLC. We could ask all these questions individually and independently, so that we have these avenues and we have these strategies to negotiate with the state. Thank you guys all for your hard work. Appreciate you all. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak in this matter?
Hi, Christopher Sylvia, 13 Bennett Street. Definitely want to thank American Canon and Planning Director Cashel for the proposal that you guys put together, as well, in particular, DeMambro and Councilor Mr. Bruin for, making some lemonade, basically. In particular, given that you ultimately couldn't support this, Mr. Bruin, I really do want to thank you for engaging with it in such a detailed way. I think that, we're ultimately, this is the government, this is the work of government, if everybody's happy, it's not a compromise. And there's a lot of actors here. Some of them are represented here and some of them aren't, you know, and the state government is acting on behalf of the whole state, the whole community. And, you know, what the state government has said, and it is pretty clear and pretty obvious to me and to my friends who are, and neighbors who have been forced to move out of state, you know, is that we need to figure out a way to house more people in the state, and we need to do it in a cheaper way. And, you know, because of the structure of government, this is what we've ended up with, you know, and so we have a proposal, it's compliant, and, you know, there's all of those funds that we could lose if we don't vote for it, and, you know, I don't want to pay those with my taxes, and I'm sure you don't either, you know, so I think that it's a, you know, it's a good thing that we're doing, and hopefully in 15 years we can look back and sort of say, well, this turned out well. That's my hope, you know. But for right now, you know, I think that we, you know, we should vote yes. And you know, I would like to thank all the city councilors who've found a way to yes. And you know, so I support the proposal, and I think you should do it. I have a couple questions. One is just, is there any land in the new district that the city owns or could reserve for future use for something like a school or that sort of thing? You know, if a new district does arise, you know, it'd be kind of silly to bus everybody all the way to the existing schools versus just having something there. So if there's any way for the city to have something there now, or perhaps even just buy one of the properties and hold it, I would be, you know, encourage the council to think about that. The other thing is building code. We're going to be building a lot of apartments, and what's in the building code is what we're going to get, and so we should think about that. But you know, ultimately, you know, having the parking lot at Anderson, it doesn't fill to capacity. Having it sit there, that's not a good use of the city from the perspective of, you know, people or fiscal or any of that. So, you know, I think that that developing that area is a good thing, and I think that, you know, we've gotten a kick in the pants, but you know, I think this is ultimately going to be good for our city in the long term. Maybe not in the short term or the medium term, but I think in the long term it will be good. And as far as the affordability goes, I mean, when you don't have that many housing units being built, when you have a lot of jobs, I mean, you mentioned 35 a month, but you know, you multiply that to a year, you think about 2 people living there, you think about roommates, that number could keep going up. You know, if there's one thing I've learned in the 2020s, it's that things can only get worse. And, you know, that number can keep going up. It could be 5, it could be 6. And that's, I think, in my opinion, why those market unit rates have been put in by the governor. And by the way, by Governor Charlie Baker, a Republican, who passed this bill. You know, I think that the reason is not necessarily just about how bad things are now, but how much worse they could get. And I think they could get quite a bit worse if we do not build more housing. So this proposal accomplishes that, and I encourage the council to vote in favor of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak on this?
Make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
On the motion.
Yes.
President Dillon, I just want to make one last comment, and I know the train left the station a long time ago in this thing, but I keep hearing that the state is willing to listen and that we should reach out to the state, and they'll understand our needs and our concerns and try to help us. But all that's happened with this is they said, do this, or we'll take your funding away. Do it, or we'll take your funding away. So I'm not having a lot of confidence when I hear people say, well, possibly we'll get some money for infrastructure, possibly we'll get money for schools. Those are the things that are keeping me up at night. And if we say yes to this, what's next? What's next? Yeah. That's all I'm saying. So thank you for hearing me.
Thank you. There's a motion and a second to close the public hearing. All in favor?
Aye.
That passes. What is the will of the council?
Mr. President, I'll make a motion to adopt the proposed, Madam Clerk, I have this written out for you, so.
Roll call.
I'll make a motion to adopt the proposed MBTA 3A non-age restricted multifamily housing zone.
And map.
Current associated overlay district map.
Okay, thank you.
And amend by replacing the current affordability section with the affordability requirement as outlined in the consultant Jeff Davis's email memo dated October 4th, 2024.
Roll call.
By roll call. yeah.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
No, it's roll call.
We're gonna
It's
do
roll
roll
call.
call, thank
Haven't
you.
heard a
Hold on.
second.
Yep.
I heard a second.
Oh, did you?
I heard a second, yeah. Just 1 second, please. Does everyone understand the motion by Councilor Demers, so I don't have to repeat it?
Thank you for
Yes?
that.
Okay. Council Campbell.
Regretfully, aye.
Council Demers.
Aye.
Council DeMambro.
Aye.
Council Ferrullo.
Aye.
Council Mercer Bruin.
Opposed.
Council Papalato.
Aye.
Council Toro.
Aye.
Council Viola.
Aye.
President Dillon.
Aye.
Motion passes. Next item on the agenda, we have under Public Safety, Committee Reports under Public Safety and License, the petition for 2024 renewal of second-class motor vehicle sales license for Woburn Glass Company, 243 Main Street. A committee report was received, ought to pass.
Make a motion the committee report be adopted?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
That passes.
On the petition for 2025 renewal of first-class motor vehicle sales license by M&L Transit Systems, Inc., 60 Olympia Avenue, committee report was received, ought to pass.
Make a motion the committee report be adopted?
Second.
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
That passes.
On the petition for 2025 renewal of second-class motor vehicle sales license by the following: David Delaruca, DBA Woburn Auto Sales, 5 Crescent Avenue, number 4, and Thomas Keene, DBA Woburn Classic Auto Sales, 13 Fowle Street. A committee report was received, ought to pass.
Motion the committee report be adopted?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
That passes.
On the petition by Kenneth Parley, 5 Marion Street, to discuss taxation and revenue items for 2025.
Make a motion that the matter be referred to the committee on liaison?
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
That passes.
Under communication and reports, a communication dated October 1st, 2024, received Thomas Quinn, the building commissioner, for the quarterly nuisance report.
Make a motion that the matter be received and placed on file?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
That passes.
Under appointments and elections, a communication dated October 9th, 2024, was received from His Honor the Mayor, Michael P. Concan, regarding the appointment of Angela M. Taft to the Commission on Disability.
Make a motion that the matter be referred to the committee on personnel?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
That passes.
Next item on the agenda is the order that the City Council regular meeting for December 3rd, 2024, and December 17th, 2024 shall begin at 6 p.m.
Make a motion the order be adopted?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
That passes.
Next item on the agenda is an order that the City Council suspend Rule 19 and establish a filing deadline for the City Council regular meeting on December 3rd, 2024, to be Friday, November 22nd, 2024, at 1 p.m.
Make a motion the order be adopted?
Second.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
That passes.
Nothing else on the
Motion,
agenda.
motion to adjourn?
Second.
A motion and a second to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned at 9:17.